and we'll call the meeting to order at 6:37 p.m. First order of business is to review and make any changes to the agenda. Are there any changes to be made to the agenda? Additions or deletions? One item I would like to not delete off of here, but table to the 4/21, the next April meeting is the municipal purchasing policy. I had hoped to get some work on this done and out to the board last week for review prior to this one, and I ran out of time. So if there's no objection, I'd like to just table item 5E, if that's okay with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay with you, Emily?
It'll be for the first April meeting?
Yeah.
Got it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great.
Charlie, can you get rid of that meeting is being recorded?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay, great. If there's no other changes to be made to the agenda, we'll move to item 2, the review and approval of the March 7th minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as written?
I'll make that motion.
Great, we have a motion from Leanne. Is there a second?
A second.
Great, seconded by Emily. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion passes. You've approved the minutes. If there's no objection, I'd like to pass over Public Works until Mark can get here and move on to old business.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay with you, Emily?
That is fine.
All right, great. So we'll move to let's move to 5 to old business. The first item up here is just an update on the municipal charter. So following the passage of that at town meeting, I sent a copy to our representative, Felicia Loeffler, who is on the House GovOps committee. She has passed it on to the committee's council for drafting into a bill. So that process is moving forward now. I'm optimistic that they'll be able to take it up and move it through for approval this session. We are now past crossover, which is when bills have to move from one house to the other in order to be passed during that session. Not necessarily the biennium, which is 2 years, but this session. Since this is a charter, I'm not entirely sure, but I think this one, we can still have that move to the other chamber before the end of the session for approval. So we'll wait for word from Felicia on that, but that's where that stands right now. Great. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi. Sorry I'm late.
Nope, that's cool. No worries. 6:40. So that is the update on the charter. Suzanne, just as an aside, we're pausing on Public Works until Mark can get here. So we are on item 5A and now moving to 5B, which is the municipal appointments. So moving on to the municipal appointments, we have a number of these to get through tonight. If you've got your town report handy, the list of them starts on page 5. So we'll move through them in the order that they are listed on the table there, paying attention to the ones that have the year 2022 associated with them. So the first one up is...
Leanne, do you want a copy?
I should probably get
I'll get it, thanks.
So the first one up is Water Commission. The 2 terms that are expiring are Charlie Hancock and Leanne Barnard. These track with the term of the Selectboard member. So are there any nominations for the are they technically vacancies? Are there any nominations to fill the 2 seats which have expired? which would make them vacancies. Page 5 of the report has the table.
I would nominate Charlie Hancock and Leanne Barnard to fill the 2 positions.
Great. Are there any other nominations? So you were a little garbled there, Suzanne. I wasn't sure if your audio is coming through pretty choppy, Suzanne. So, and just as a reminder, nominations don't need to be seconded if that's what you're looking to do.
Sometimes if you shut off your video, the audio comes in better.
Yeah, maybe if you might want to shut off your video, Suzanne, and that might help your audio out. So we have a nomination for the 2 vacancies on the Water Commission from Emily, a nomination for Charlie and Leanne. Again, are there any other nominations? Okay, not hearing any other nominations, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Charlie Hancock and Leanne Barnard serving the 2, 3, and 2-year terms respectively for the Water Commission, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do we have to do a roll call?
I think since we're on Zoom, I don't believe it needs to be a roll call vote, because the vote is recorded, it's being recorded.
Okay.
Sorry, where were we on that? I think, any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, hearing none, you have appointed Charlie and Leanne to the Water Commission. Great. Next up is agent to convey real estate. This is a 1-year term. Barry Cade, term expiring. Barry has expressed interest in serving in this position again. Are there any nominations for agent to convey real estate? Okay, hearing none, I will nominate Barry Cade. Are there any other nominations? Okay, hearing none, we will vote. All those in favor of Barry Cade serving a 1-year term as the agent to convey real estate, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, you've appointed Barry Cade. Next up is Budget Committee. Budget Committee is 5 seats, all expiring this year. The terms expiring are Scott Perry, Mark Briette, Sue Wilson, Aaron Kopax, and Charlie Hancock. Are there any nominations for Budget Committee? These can be handled one by one, or we can nominate a slate.
I would nominate the slate. Sue, are you still into it?
Yes.
Okay.
Great, so we have a nomination from Leanne to appoint Scott Perry, Mark Briette, Sue Wilson, Aaron Kopax, and Charlie Hancock to the Budget Committee term of 1 year. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Scott Perry, Mark Briette, Sue Wilson, Aaron Kopax, and Charlie Hancock serving the 1-year term on the Budget Committee, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Moving on, Director of Disaster and Emergency Management. This is a 1-year term expiring. Doug Kopax was the Director of Emergency Management. I did talk to Doug about this, and I think this one, I'm not sure what happened, whether it was a typo or what, and I haven't had a chance to go back and actually double check. But Doug does not want to wear this hat, given that he also wears the fire chief hat. Greg Lucas, who was the previous director, is interested in still serving in that capacity. So to that end, I would nominate Greg Lucas.
Yep. I would second that.
So we don't technically need seconds, but
Okay.
that's okay. Are there any other nominations for Director of Disaster and Emergency Preparedness? Or I'm sorry, Emergency Management? Okay, hearing Hearing none, we will close nominations. All those in favor of Greg Lucas serving as the Director of Disaster and Emergency Management, please signify by saying aye.
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 Great. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, you appointed Greg Lucas. Next up is the Deputy Director of Disaster and Emergency Management, term expiring 1 year, Brent Godin. Brent is interested in remaining in this position. Are there any nominations?
I would nominate Brent Godin for that position.
Great. Any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Brent Godin serving as the Deputy for Disaster and Emergency Management, please signify by saying aye.
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 Great. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. We've appointed Brent Godin. Next up is fence viewers. This is 3 positions, term expiring 1 year for the listers. This can be handled individually or as a slate. Are there any nominations for fence viewers?
I would nominate the slate.
So Leanne has nominated the listers to serve as, I assume that's what you meant, was to nominate the.
Yes.
Okay, nominate the listers. Are there any other nominations? Not hearing any nominations, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of the listers serving as the fence viewers for a 1 year term, please signify by saying aye.
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 Great. Any opposed? Any abstentions? You have appointed the listers. Road Commissioner, 2 year term, Mark Briette, expiring 2022. Is there a nomination for Road Commissioner?
Yep.
Charlie, are we not looking at the fire warden and the deputy fire warden?
Oh, good. So those actually, those expire in June.
Great, so do we wait on those? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, so we would
Okay.
wait on those.
Thank you.
Yep, no, good clarification though. So, I'll ask again, are there any nominations for Road Commissioner?
I would nominate Mark Burlett.
Okay, we have a nomination from Leanne for Mark. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Mark Briette continuing to serve as Road Commissioner for a 2 year term, please signify by saying aye.
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 Emily, I just want to double check if that was a registered aye or not. I didn't.
Suzanne's.
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, you reappointed Mark Briette. Transportation Advisory Representative, 1 year term, expiring. Mark Briette is the current representative. Are there any nominations for Transportation Advisory Representative?
I'll nominate Mark Briette.
We have a nomination from Leanne for Mark Briette. Are there any other nominations? Not hearing any nominations, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Mark Briette serving as the Transportation Advisory Representative, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, you've reappointed Mark Briette. Transportation Advisory Representative Alternate, this is also a 1 year term. This position is currently vacant. Are there any nominations for the Transportation Advisory Alternate?
Has anyone expressed any kind of interest?
I have not had anybody express interest in this one.
It's usually 2 selectmen, right? 2 select persons.
It has been in the past, yeah. Does any select person want to volunteer for this position?
I'll volunteer for it.
Okay, Leanne has put her name out, so I will nominate Leanne for the Transportation Advisory alternate. Are there any other nominations? Not hearing any, we will close nominations. All those in favor of Leanne serving as the alternate representative of Transportation Transportation Advisory alternate. Please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, you've appointed Leanne. Rec Board, we have three-year seats expiring. Journey Johnston, Corbin Irwin, and Brendan O'Shea. Journey and Brendan have both expressed interest. I'm not sure about Corbin.
I would guess that he would be
I thought so too. Peg suggested that he might be too busy for this, but we can always appoint him, and then if he declines, we can appoint somebody else.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we can handle these individually, or we can handle the 3 seats as a slate, because they're all a 3-year term.
I would nominate all 3 of them.
Great, so we have Leanne nominating Journey, Corbin, and Brendan. Are there any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Journey Johnston, Corbin Irwin, and Brendan O'Shea serving a 3-year term on the Rec Board, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, you've reappointed those folks. Next up is MRBA Wild and Scenic Representative. There's 2 positions here currently held by Misty McCartney and Carissa Stein. I have not heard from Misty, but I did run into Cynthia Scott this weekend, who has moved back to town and is pretty well connected with these groups. And she suggested that Misty was not really involved with this anymore, but Cynthia was interested in filling the position.
Good luck.
So as such, I will nominate Cynthia Scott and Carissa Stein to serve as the MRBA Wild and Scenic Reps. And just to make sure it's clear, Cynthia does now live in Montgomery.
Yep.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, hearing none, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Cynthia Scott and Carissa Stein serving as the MRBA Wild and Scenic Representatives, please signify by saying aye.
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 Great. We've appointed Cynthia and Carissa. Give me 1 second just to make a notation. Next up, we have the Northwest Communication District Representatives. A 1-year term, currently held by Everett McGinley, Ian Scott, and Roger Lichty. Ian Scott is an alternate, Roger Lichty is an alternate. I believe all 3 are interested in continuing the position. Everett is actually the chairman of the Communications Union District now as well.
Nice.
So are there any nominations for the rep and the alternates? Okay, I will nominate Everett McGinley as the rep with Ian and Roger as alternates. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll vote. We'll close nominations and vote. All those in favor of Everett McGinley serving as the Northwest Communication Union District Representative with Ian Scott and Roger Lichty as alternates, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Moving on to the Community Garden Board. There are 7 seats here, all expiring this year. These seats are currently held by Remy Creton, Wendy Howard, Genevieve Lodell Guild, Parma Jewett, Hannah Sorensen, Casey Krieger, and Tiffany Jones.
Wendy Howard can't be on it.
What's that?
Wendy Howard cannot be on it.
So she can, because it's not an elected position. It's an appointed position to a board, similar as how Peg is on the rec board.
They could?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have not heard from everybody on this list. I have heard from Wendy, Genevieve, Parma, and Hannah that they would like to continue. We can work under the assumption that Remy, Casey, and Tiffany would as well.
Remy's the chair of that.
Yeah, he has been.
Yeah.
Does
Okay.
Cassie still live in town?
I do not know Cassie.
She taught at the school and now she does.
Oh, Cassie.
Yeah.
Okay, I do know
But-
Cassie.
You know her.
Yeah.
Does
She's
she
not in
still live
school
here?
anymore?
No.
Yeah, she still lives in town.
She
She
does.
does?
Okay.
Okay. And
Right.
again, even if they don't, they can still be nominated to
Oh,
this
okay.
board, yeah.
All right then.
Okay, so are there nominations for the Community Garden Board? We can handle this as a slate, or we can handle them one by one.
Go with the slate.
We have a nomination from Leanne to handle it as a slate, and I'm gonna interpret that as the slate of reappointing the existing slate.
Every one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm
Are there-
happy to hear Tiffany Jones is on there.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close nominations. All in favor of reappointing the Community Garden Board as currently composed, please signify by saying aye.
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 I
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Moving on, Conservation Commission. There's 3 seats expiring this year. Parma Jewett, Lynn Locker, and Matt Paggi, all 3 of whom have expressed interest in continuing on the board. Are there any nominations for the Conservation Commission, 3 seats, 4-year terms each?
I would nominate Palmer Jewett, Lynn Locker, and Mary
Paggi, yep.
Paggi?
Great, so we have a nomination for Parma, Matt, and Lynn. Are there any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Parma, Lynn, and Matt continuing to serve a 4-year term on the Conservation Commission, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Moving on, we have Town Newsletter Editor. This is currently held by Suzanne. Are there any nominations for Town Newsletter Editor?
sorry.
I will nominate Suzanne.
Leanne has nominated Suzanne. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Suzanne continuing to serve a 1-year term as Town Newsletter Editor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries, or election carries, or aye. Okay, there you go. I'm sorry, Suzanne, was that an abstention, or was that a vote in favor?
Well, I should probably abstain, right?
You don't have to,
You
I
can
mean,
vote for yourself.
but if you'd like to, I can mark it down as an abstention.
Yeah, that's what I intended.
Okay, great. Next up, we have Inspector of Lumber, Shingles, and Wood. This is currently held by Wendy Howard. I have a check next to her name, which indicates that she is interested in continuing to serve in that position. Are there any nominations for Inspector of Lumber, Shingles, and Wood?
I would nominate Wendy.
We have a nomination from Leanne for Wendy Howard. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Wendy Howard continuing to serve a 1-year term of Inspector of Lumber, Shingles, and Wood, please signify by saying aye.
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 Great. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. You've elected Wendy Howard, or appointed Wendy Howard. Next up is Tree Warden. This is a 1-year position, Charlie Hancock term expiring. Are there any nominations for Tree Warden?
I nominate Charlie.
We've got a nomination from Mark for Charlie Hancock. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Charlie Hancock serving a 1-year term as Tree Warden, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, great. Any opposed? Any abstentions? And I'll abstain from this one. So, great. Last up, the most important position in town, weigher of coal. This is a 1-year term, Jacob Percuson expiring. Are there any nominations for weigher of coal?
I'll nominate Jacob.
Mark? We have a nomination from Mark to nominate Jacob Percuson. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Jacob Percuson serving a 1-year term as weigher of coal, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. I might have missed that. Was there an aye, Emily, on that one?
Yes, there was.
Okay, great. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, and you reappointed Jacob as weigher of coal. I'm sure he'll be thrilled. Great, and that takes us through the appointments for the evening.
Did I get reappointed road commissioner?
You did get reappointed road
Yippee.
commissioner.
You did.
Typically we do the road commissioner appointment when it's still winter and not in the middle of mud season. And since you weren't here, you couldn't decline the appointment, so you are road commissioner.
Okay.
All right, so it is now 7:04, and so what I'd like to do is turn to visitors, because we usually do visitors at 7, and then we'll go back to public works. So if there's no objection, we'll go to visitors. We usually do visitors in the order folks arrive to the meeting. Sue Wilson is here in person and was the first one here. So Sue, you've got the floor. And if it's possible to turn the camera so it can catch Sue, if we can do that, that would be great. Yeah, come on, people want to see you.
Okay, first I wanted to tell you, today was our first senior meal.
Yeah.
Was takeout only. We had 25 people. And we had some left over, so we fed Liz, Genevieve, and Erin.
Nice.
And Parma dropped off desserts up at the town garage.
Yeah.
We tried to see whether we could bring you meals, but
Wow.
you were all out on the road, so.
What was lunch today?
But lunch was chili, coleslaw, cornbread, and carrot cake with cream cheese icing.
Great.
Yep, so that was, the first one, and it went smoothly, no problems, whatever. We had a couple of deliveries for people who couldn't get out.
Great.
So anyway, so that was that. So my next thing is, and I have a piece of paper up there on the board for you, for everybody. I would like to, I had do you have it? Does everybody have it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Should I hold it here? I have a prototype of a snowflake. This one is made of pine, but if approved, the snowflakes would be made of is that what it's called? MDO? MDO 3/4 inch out, the plywood. It's the same thing that barn quilts are made of. And the white would be this, again, is the prototype. It would be a high gloss white. And it would now this one weighs about 4 pounds. That MDO plywood is much heavier. So these will each weigh anywhere between 8 and 10 pounds. So they're not gonna, they're not gonna swing anywhere or like the banners and whatever. So the proposed there is for 24 wooden snowflakes. And the total cost is $960 for all 24. So the cost winds up being $40 each.
So those are to replace the wreaths?
Wreaths.
Oh, okay.
This would replace the wreaths, so it'll be wreaths and then the season's greeting banners. The wreaths, most of the wreaths are very old and they're not in good shape. Now, these will not have lights
No.
on them, but as you can see, it has sparkles, so in the daytime, the sun will catch it, and at night, headlights, and if they're hanging on a pole, they'll sparkle. The wreaths, I priced out the double-sided wreaths. I couldn't find anything less than, I think it was $44 for the double-sided wreaths. And then you have to add the bows to it and then add the lights to it. So I would like to propose doing the snowflakes, which will last a number of years. And that's it. And the cost is $960.
Great. Any questions for Sue? And for those on Zoom, just so you know, the material that she presented in writing is just a list of the materials with the cost. Again, as she said, $40 each, total cost of $960. And did you mention that Robert was making them?
No, I did not.
Yeah, and so they're going to be made by Robert Gendron, who lives right down here on Main Street. So, locally made.
Yep. And the other thing he told me, each piece, like this and this and this, all the pieces that are sticking out are all doweled
Oh,
into the main piece and
yeah.
glued. And there's a total of 476 dowels in the 24 wreaths. But each piece is doweled and glued. And again, this would be made of the 3/4 inch MDO outdoor plywood, the same thing that the barn quilts.
Great.
He's a great woodworker.
Yes.
Oh gosh, yes.
Everything that he makes is
Yes.
built with.
And his labor, everything's in there. Everything is in that $960.
So I'm just realizing that we can't see. Oh, it's because, never mind. Sorry, I'm brain dead. It's because the camera's on Sue. I was like, we can't see the table. Yeah, the camera wasn't pointed at it. I'm so sorry. God, is it Friday?
Okay, I'll make a motion to purchase 24 wood snowflakes for a cost not exceeding $1,000.
I would second that.
The piece of plywood itself is $142. It was $88, and that's how much the prices have gone.
Lumber
Oh,
is
yeah.
just like asphalt.
So this one is made of pine, that's,
So we have a motion for Mark to essentially adopt the project with the quote presented with an amount not to exceed $1,000. Seconded by Leanne. Is there any discussion on the motion?
I am just curious, my first question was answered, which was whether that was a current quote, because I know that the cost of materials has gone through the roof. And I'm just curious when the projected timeline is for this project to be happening, and wondering if like the cost of materials may come down before then.
The snowflakes would go up at the same time as the wreaths, which would be the first week in December.
I think Emily's question was around the price fluctuation and wondering if prices might change between now and construction, but is he gonna start working on these
I
essentially?
mean, well, he needs all this time
Yeah.
to make 24 of these.
Okay.
And it's only one piece of the MDO board. So, you know,
Okay.
Oh,
it's only one MDO board,
one
because it's a
sheet.
4x8 sheet,
yeah.
and these are all little little cuts and then the one,
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah, it only takes one sheet. He can get 24 snowflakes
Oh, wow,
out of one sheet
oh, wow.
of the MDO board.
Wow,
Okay.
that's great. Any other discussion on the motion? I see Larry waving his hand, so if there's no objection, we'll go to Larry with a question. Oh, Larry, you're muted, so just make sure you unmute yourself.
The board can show support. I'm not sure you can vote on it and approve it until such time you've got it on an agenda.
Oh, that's,
Send to visitors.
yeah, no, I guess you're right. It is an expenditure, and it was not a warned item, so,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, no, that's a good catch, Larry, for formality. I mean, we could adopt it tonight and ratify it next time, but if there's no objection, what we'll do is put a pin in this and put it on the agenda for next time.
Yeah.
Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, then I guess, do you wanna just, for formality, do you wanna withdraw the motion?
yeah, I'll withdraw the motion.
Okay. Great, then we will put this, on the agenda for next time.
And what's that date?
That is April, 4th is the next meeting.
Okay.
Great, thanks Larry. Anything else, Sue, for visitors?
Nope.
Okay. So I can't remember who showed up first to the meeting, whether it was Larry or Merle, so Merle, why don't you go ahead, do you have anything for visitors tonight?
Say about the streetscape, there's supposed to be, I guess, public meeting or something on that sometime this summer.
Yeah, so we do have an update on the Streetscape project, which we have on the agenda, so we will get to that. Okay, yep, so we'll
Public meeting coming up.
yeah, I mean, we don't, so the update tonight is more around a funding opportunity that we're looking at and not a scheduled meeting, so there will be a public meeting for the project scheduled. We don't have a date for it set yet, though.
And just out of curiosity, do you happen to know what the vote was on the charter? I've never seen it anywhere.
On the website.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
On the town website.
It's on the town website. I don't have it off the top of my head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I missed it, okay.
yeah, yep.
Good, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Merle. Larry and or Anita, do you have anything for visitors this evening? Nope, okay, Larry's good. All right, so that takes us through visitors. So at this point, so we put a pin in Public Works until you got here. So at this point, what we'll do is circle back to item number 3, if there's no objection, which is Public Works. So the first item on Public Works is just basically an update on where things are at. So Mark, feel free to take it away and provide an update on road conditions and
Yeah.
what the team's doing.
Yeah. Today we worked on the Gibu and then on West Hill, trying to make that passable all the way around. So I believe we accomplished that on both those roads for now. Tomorrow we plan on going back up on Black Balls and probably back on 58 and Amadon Road. Try to keep those passable. The biggest challenge is that it's not freezing, so everything's thawing out
Right.
real quick, and it's hard for us to get material in. So what we've been doing is Billy's just been pushing the mud to the side and trying to keep things passable. The discouraging part is when you do that, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, here comes a SAP truck, or here comes a fuel truck or something, and then it, makes the road impassable again. So we're trying to keep ahead of it. Then we're trying to get a little bit more material in, to try to get, hopefully that tonight, it seems like the wind is, hopefully things will start drying out a little bit.
Yep.
So we can start getting back, getting some material in to start fixing some of these holes and stuff.
Okay.
And then as far as projects, I started getting some quotes for the paving of the PSP building, and I got one from Hungerford's paving, and it was 62,000. So that was good news. So I put feelers out to a bunch of the pavers in the area. So I'm working on trying to get some quotes for that.
Great.
So we can get that project going. You know.
Wow, 62, so we budgeted for 60, right?
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah,
Well, no, we budgeted for 90.
we budgeted for 90.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're gonna have material costs, putting in, you know, pulling out the stuff that's there and then redoing it, so.
Yeah, which were in-house costs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so, but no, that was, I think the paving one we had before was like 90,000.
yeah,
So this was 62, so I'm waiting for a few other
Where's
ones.
this?
This parking
Right
lot
here,
out here.
oh, good.
Yeah. And I'm looking at making it a little bit wider at the bottom
Mhm.
where the fire hydrant has come out, and at least another 10 feet in.
Great.
So when people park, they won't be out,
Mhm.
you know.
out in the thing.
So
Cool.
that's part of the
Awesome.
project, so.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how the lot
Yeah.
is like, not
Yeah,
square.
I'm gonna try to square it up a little bit,
Okay,
you know, cause the septic's up here, so we can
Yep.
square it up.
cool.
And he gave you a quote per square feet, so if we decide to go a little farther or less or whatever, you know, so. So I've got 3 or 4 more out there, that are coming to measure it up, so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great.
Because, I mean, for that kind of job, we don't really need Pike or Whitcomb, you know, we could get a private company
Yeah,
to come in, which I think they can do it a little more reasonable.
Okay.
Than them, and they're quite as busy as Pike and Whitcomb.
yep.
Yeah.
Great.
So that's on the process. Yeah, so,
Cool.
but Billy is back helping us with the grader and stuff.
Yep.
It's pretty amazing when he gets in that thing.
Yeah, what he can do with it.
You think he's stuck and he just keeps on moving.
Yeah,
We had to follow him with a loader to keep him moving, but,
yeah,
you know, a couple places. But there is some material moved.
good. All right.
But some of the places like Black Falls, the hill is holding up. Way up to Jesse's isn't bad, but after Jesse's, and the problem there is Jesse tapped over at Lee's place, and now he's trucking sap from there
Oh, down.
back over, so the
Mm.
flats and
Yeah.
past Jesse's is all broken up now.
So the hill,
The hill
The hill
is
is
holding up.
hold-
Well, we
man.
put a lot of stone in there and stuff, so some of
Yeah.
the places that were real bad last year are holding up because we put a lot of stone in the base and
Yeah.
stuff, so.
okay,
It's kind of weird. Billy's never seen it this bad.
Yeah.
In all the years he's done it. But usually what happens, it comes out slow and it freezes at nights, and that's not what it's doing.
yeah,
And tonight I think it's supposed to get down a little bit cooler. But
Yeah.
If we get some wind and sun, it'll hopefully dry things out.
yeah, the next couple days look kind of favorable to drying conditions.
We
and
can
then-
start going the other direction.
Yeah.
The better direction. So
Okay, good.
I've been working with the school to keep the bus route.
Yeah.
You know, going as well as we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Any other project updates or anything? I know we've got some permits to approve and the budget and everything, but.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Great, so then we'll move on to item B, buildings and grounds. There's still nothing from the post office on 98 Main, so we'll just carry that forward. Has the town office renovation committee met again since the last meeting?
I don't
Wait,
think so.
what happened? There was an email from the post office that they wanted to buy it.
I think that was another email just from a private company, Chad Weller. So that's the Postal Realty Trust and Institutional Advisory Group, which is based in Cedarhurst, New York. My impression of that was that was another private company reaching out, similar to the one that we had a month or two ago. I'm happy to chase it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I can chase it down and just kind of, confirm that that's the case. But I believe this was another similar company that is not the Postal Service. It's another company that buys real estate and then basically works with the Postal Service.
Oh, I see, okay.
So I can chase this one down with Tim just to kind of see if there's any follow-up. But without anything from the post office, telling us what they wanna do, we're not really in a position, I mean, we could sell the building to these folks, but then if the post office doesn't stay there or whatever, I mean,
Yeah,
we need the post office to tell us what they
Yes.
wanna do first.
yeah.
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 So has the renovation committee met?
I don't think they met again.
Okay,
I think they're meeting Wednesday,
I think so,
oh, okay,
this
great,
Wednesday.
yeah.
okay,
Yeah, they have their new plans and everything, so.
great, so
Yeah.
then we will, carry this one forward as well and, get an update following this Wednesday's meeting at our next meeting. Moving on, item C, Water Commission, I didn't have any specific updates on this, we still got the project up on, Reagan Road that we're moving forward with, but there's no updates on that at this point.
No.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Lonely Bridge Tap project, so this is that, the project with the stream bank that we're gonna start working on again in the spring. So the easement paperwork that we've been waiting on from the adjacent landowner, has been returned.
Okay.
So the landowners would like to be compensated for the right of way. The cost is about $1,000 based on the appraisal. So, and that's fine, that's
Yeah.
totally within the scope of what the project would do.
Yeah.
So now that we have that back, what we need to do is engage an attorney to review the process and advise us on next steps for the financial transaction. And the attorney will also need to complete a certification letter to verify that the right of way processes and requirements have been satisfied for V-Trans before we can proceed. So our challenge right now is that in the past we've used Charlie Merriman as an attorney. Charlie sort of went MIA. He closed his firm, and I think he moved as well. I did speak with him back when we were initially doing the charter work, looking for assistance, and he kind of just disappeared, which is why we ended up going with Paul Giuliani. Linda
Paul
Blash,
Gillies.
what's that?
Paul Gillies?
Paul Gillies, sorry, not Paul.
Right,
Paul
Paul
Giuliani.
right.
Paul Gillies. I don't know where Giuliani came from. Is Paul Giuliani a person?
No,
Yeah.
Rudy is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Paul helped us with that. Linda Blash at Regional Planning, who is the municipal project manager for this one, has a firm that she's worked with in the past, that she is actually working with right now on a similar project in Fletcher, I believe, or no, in South Hero. The firm is called Fletcher something and something, and so she was gonna reach out to the firm to see if they can work with us on this project. So I expect to get back a quote for services or something like that soon. So we'll keep moving forward on that. But that's the update on the TAP project.
Yeah, because we'd like to, should get that out the bid.
Yeah, wanna get that out soon.
Yeah.
Let me make a note about that. So that takes us to item E. So we have 2 driveway permits for approval.
Yeah.
Pearly Weed and Deegan and Mary
Radica.
Radica?
Yeah.
On Reagan River.
Yeah.
So you've reviewed these and,
Yeah. Pearly Weed is on South Brook Road. It'll be right across from Alan Dusso's garage, right up on top of the hill.
okay,
I guess they're putting in 2 lots in there. So that one's kind of flat off the road, so there won't need to be a culvert there, so.
Okay.
I met with him, and he's gonna let me know when they start it. So that one was good.
okay.
And do we wanna just do one at a time? Or?
We can do one at a time, we can do both.
Yeah. And then the Radica one is on Reagan Road. And that one kind of goes down in. It's 1270 Reagan Road. The closest neighbor is 1275.
Where is that near?
It's like almost in the middle. It's right near Scott's brother.
Oh, Kurt.
Kirk's, right before you get to Kirk's, going, yeah, right away.
Okay,
On the opposite side. So that one kind of goes down in too, so they won't need a culvert for that one. I met with them with that one too, so they'll let me know when they get ready to put it in. I think they've got it cleared right now, so.
okay.
And I can go over it. both of them are pretty good. Are good.
Okay, so Mark has no concerns with either the weed or Radka permits. So is there a motion to approve both the driveway permits for Pearly Weed and Deegan Mary Radka?
I'll make that motion.
Great. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Great, second from Emily. Is there any discussion? I do see that Sue's got her hand up. Any discussion from the board? Any questions? If not, Sue, did you have a question?
I just had a question on Star, Joe Star
Yeah,
up there. Has he fixed that culvert?
yeah, he's got that one
Okay,
all fixed, the
that's-
whole drive
okay.
is all
Great.
fixed. Yeah,
Because he would keep
it was a little
putting
bit,
it off and putting it off.
it was a little bit of fight, but we got
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Okay, thank you.
that.
Alright. So any further discussion on the motion?
He's not too happy with me, so we got that.
Alright, not hearing any discussion on the motion, we'll call the question. All those in favor of approving the driveway permits for Pearly Weed and Deegan and Mary Radico, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Emily, was that an aye?
It was.
Okay, sorry, I can see the screen light up and I can usually hear your voices, I just wanted to make sure I got that. Great. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries.
Okay, I'll let him know they're approved.
Great, so moving on, next up is the V-Trans annual financial plan. So what I'll do right now for the folks
Oh,
at home is I'll do a screen share. So can folks see this? This is the annual financial plan for town highways for fiscal year 2023. As you can see, we don't have any class 1 roads. We have class 2 and class 3 roads with the estimated budget shown in the second column for a total of $636,558.10. That is the income. The expenses are listed in the table below. Expenses matching the income. And then this would need to get signed by the board. So we have the annual financial plan with a budget of $636,558.10. Is there a motion to approve the annual financial plan? I will make that motion. Motion to approve. Charlie, is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Great, we have a second from Leanne. Is there any discussion? And I do see Larry had his hand up. So if there's no objection, Larry, did you have a question or a comment? Just make sure you come off mute.
Yes, Mark mentioned in the past year that he has to do some grading on class 4 roads where possible. Is that included in those costs?
Yeah, that's our whole, the 552,000 is our whole town budget, for roads. So yeah, I guess it is included in there.
Is anything listed in class 4 though? It's all class 2 and 3. I
Well-
didn't know whether it should be segregated or not.
So does the class 3 34.97 miles include the class 4 sections that we,
No, and, I don't know why they don't have, I mean, what this is you take your miles and time, this number that you times it by is from the state. Is what, they give you, so like 28,000 is, what we get for class 2
I guess I have
roads.
no problem with you approving the budget as long as you look into why there isn't any class 4 designation, and we do.
I mean, out of the 552, there is for class 4 in there, cause that's our town budget.
yeah, so the budget, the budget's basically a formula that
Yeah,
we can't really screw with it because what we do is we plug in the mileage for each road class as shown, and then we multiply it by the state's multiplier to get the budgeted amount. So I guess what we can do is if,
But you just kept through saying that the class 4 wasn't in the 34.97.
yeah, so I think one of the questions might be, and we can reach out to Mr.
Yeah.
Coda
Yeah.
as to whether or not the state, because am I right that this is the amount of money the state's gonna assist with?
Yeah,
Yeah, so this is
Yes.
the amount of money the state's gonna give us to help maintain the roads. So I guess the question would be, does the state actually give us any money to maintain the class 4 roads? Because we have money in the budget to do road maintenance that's coming from tax revenue, right? In the municipal budget, we've got money. This is
they don't.
this is money that's coming from the state, and so my interpretation here is the state's not gonna give us any money for the class 4 roads,
No,
so it's not shown here. If you look at the public works budget, we would still have expenditures associated with class 4 roads.
You're making a good politician. Okay.
yeah,
Doing my best.
and then you need these numbers for like, when you get grants and stuff, you have to show,
Yeah,
these numbers, so. But I believe they don't, because some towns don't do anything to class 4s, so
Right.
I don't, yeah.
great, so we've got the motion made and seconded to approve the budget as presented. Is there any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, we will call the question. All those in favor of approving the budget as presented, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Motion carries. So there is a page here that needs to be signed. We have a majority of the board here this evening, so we can sign it. But Suzanne or Emily, if you want to come down in the next day or so and sign it, we can hold it for you. So next up is, oh, sorry. I didn't want to cut you off, Suzanne. Did you want to say something?
No.
Okay, sorry about that. Next up is the town road and bridge standards. So what I will do is do a screen share again for this one. So this is the town road and bridge standards. This is an annual document. Do you want to describe it, Mark?
What it is, it just describes how, like the slopes and everything that we're supposed to do maintaining the roads and all the standards that we have to go by. So when we're grading roads and stuff, and then doing ditching, this has to be signed for us to get any grant money too. But I mean, it's just guidelines for, how to maintain the roads, which is a good thing, so. We just have to sign it every year, the municipality.
Yep. And just to be clear, the copy I'm showing is a clean copy. The copy we'll be signing will have the yeses and nos circled.
Yeah,
So just be aware that the yeses and nos are not circled on this, nor are the inches as shown in this section. But those are completed on the form that we will be signing.
yeah,
And they will be filled in as required to meet the standards of the state. So it's kind of a perfunctory exercise.
yeah.
So I'll stop sharing. Is there a motion to adopt the town road and bridge standards?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion from Leanne. Is there a second? Okay, I will make the second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor of adopting the town road and bridge standards for this year, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. Great, so that should be, and that requires, does that require board signatures too?
I'll go away on the, yeah, I forgot to print that one.
Okay,
Forgot to print it
yes. Okay, so that's another one that we'll be signing. I can print that out before we leave tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, we'll print that and we'll leave both of these here in the office for a couple days. So
Yeah.
Suzanne and Emily, if you wanna come by and sign them, they'll be here till
Well, they have to be in by April 15th, so.
by April 15th.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we'll have them
Yeah.
through the week and then we can,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So that takes us to through Public Works. We have already handled visitors. Old business, we had the charter update first thing. We have done the appointments, so that brings us to the municipal website update. Emily, is there any update on this project?
Yes. Sorry, my iPad's giving me a hard time. So Liz, Genevieve, and I met with Zach. Not this past Friday, the Friday before. And we had a really productive conversation about the needs of the town website and where we were seeing things that could be improved and changed to make things more accessible, both from a PC standpoint and from a mobile device as well. We talked at length about cleaning up the website and making it a much easier format for people to navigate. Zach is on board with doing all of this work, and while I expected to have him give us a quote for said work, he is not. He feels that redoing the website to whatever sort of specifications we're looking for is part of his work in the stipend that we pay him. So that was pretty incredible to hear that we're going to do this work without any further expenditure more than what we spend annually to maintain it and pay his stipend. So that was excellent news. We have shared with him the document that I shared with all of you previously, with the examples of some different towns that have websites that we have really explored and found to be easy to navigate and pretty accessible for people, whether they're digital natives or not. All of that information has been provided to him, and we have an open, ongoing conversation about work that's getting done. What he is going to do is draw up, and I think like literally draw up, maybe on paper, he was saying, what he is envisioning from all of our correspondence and suggestions based on perusing some of the other websites. He'll put together what he thinks is what we're looking for. And then he's going to start building it on the back end without taking our website down, so that we do still have whatever functionality we have on our website available for people while this second site is being crafted. And then when it's ready to go, we'll just make the switch.
Great, that's awesome. And so I think probably what we can do is once the new site is built, prior to going live, we could do a board tour, you know, because typically when Zach does that, he'll provide a non-public link to the draft platform, and so once that's ready, we can walk through it as a board and make any final suggestions or tweaks. But that's awesome, Emily. That's great that you guys did that, and you know, it's awesome that Zach's willing to do this under the existing agreement. So nice.
To a website mock-up being ready for us to look at, which I know that he will share a private link for us to take a peek at before it goes live. I know that he'll be providing other updates along the way and looking for feedback from the board as well. I believe that I should have some maybe mock-up drawing, even if it's in hard copy, to share by the next meeting.
Awesome. Great.
Good.
Any questions for Emily? Sweet. Well, that's awesome. So thanks, Emily, for keeping the ball rolling on that.
Yeah.
All right, if nothing else on the website, we'll move on to item D. This is the municipal wastewater and streetscape projects. Just an update on here. So on the wastewater side, the engineers are continuing to do their work. I think the next kind of milestone that we're looking at is to get the final plans for the properties that we're looking at that we'll have to discuss with landowners around purchase agreements. Essentially, we know the properties that we are looking at because we've been doing the test pits there. The question that we need to address is exactly how big of a footprint we need to purchase from the landowners. And so as soon as we have that information, we can then enter into discussions with the landowners around a potential purchase and sale. But again, until we know whether it's 1 acre or 2 acres or 4 acres at what site, we can't really do that.
Did you know in the village which site it's gonna be? If it's gonna be up Black Falls or up, North Hill?
I want to say that the one that the engineers were looking at was Black Falls, because I have a mental note to make sure that we connect on the ditching work that's going to be done to make sure there's no conflicts there in terms
Yeah.
of the work that gets done and then this work.
Yeah.
But I will confirm that with John. I think this week they're going to have this stuff ready for us to
Oh,
look at. So
okay.
yeah, but
I'd rather have them go up North Hill.
I would too.
I mean, but Black Falls is a little more complicated.
Yeah. But again, a lot of this is gonna be like directional drilling and stuff, so I guess if they have to go through that ledge to get up, the technology exists to be able to basically
Yeah.
directionally drill it up out of the road bed area,
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they do, yeah. 'Cause they gotta go into the river. So.
Yeah, yep. So that's the update on the wastewater side. The update on the streetscape side is around a funding opportunity. So if folks remember last time, with the wastewater project, we had applied for a Northern Borders Regional Commission grant that we actually had received in the amount of $500,000. We had to end up turning that money away because of some of the conditions that were attached to it around the percent of federal funds associated with the project and the matching requirements. Essentially, we had too much federal money in the project for NBRC to work with us, so we had to decline that money for that project. There were some questions around the budget too. When we applied for that money, we applied with the entire $11.9 million project budget, and it made it really hard to determine kind of what match component of what the NBRC component was going to. So we've kind of learned our lesson there in terms of NBRC, how the program works, how the budgeting works, how the match requirements work. And I had a conversation last week with John Olin, who is the engineer at Hoyle Tanner, who we selected to do the work, and Linda Blash, who is the municipal project manager. And what we decided that might be an opportunity here is to reapply to NBRC for a limited scope of the streetscapes work. So if folks remember, we have a TAP grant that's going to support the survey engineering work this summer to kind of take the big conceptual stuff we were looking at and kind of figure out more on the ground what this would look like, how this would fit. The idea being that we would then get to a final design to then move into a potential project with. What we talked about doing was taking a defined portion of that scope, which we're pretty sure we would move forward with if we did the project, and applying to NBRC to fund just that portion. And the scope of work that we talked about was essentially what we're going to call the Montgomery Center gateway portion of it. And what that would be is it would be going from the rec center, working on establishing better on-street parking on the rec center side, so pulling the shoulder out some so that when folks park there, they're not in the travel way. And then adding a sidewalk that goes all the way from the entrance to the rec center, up the rec center, around the corner, and then all the way up to River Street, I think is where we would kind of cap that. And so the idea here is that we're gonna take a defined portion of a bigger project and apply to NBRC for just that portion of it. And so what John Olin is doing now is he's reworking up a budget and some designs for just this one isolated part of the project. We can then go to NVRC for just funding that part and hopefully get money from them to fund that part of the project. And if we do it that way, there's no, it's a defined project. So even if we do like a phase 2, phase 3 in the village or the center, this would be part of it. It would make the budget and the match requirements work much better. And we can also still apply for a waiver of match requirements. That stipulation is still there with NVRC. We can basically talk about the impacts of COVID and why we need to have a waiver for the town's match component. So the idea is that we'd be able to get somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe $500,000 to help fund a portion of the streetscape work. I have a call Friday with Christy Farnham, who is the Vermont, I can't think of her title, but she works for the Agency of Commerce and Community Development, but she's like the point person for NVRC at the state. So I've got a conversation with her scheduled for Friday to kind of go over this idea and run it by her to kind of get her take and her green light on it before we actually submit a letter of intent. The letter of intent would be due April 22nd. So that's what's moving forward on that part of it. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay, not hearing any questions, then we'll keep the ball rolling there. This next item, as we discussed earlier, the purchasing policy, we're gonna table that to the April 4th meeting so that we can get some material out to folks ahead of time to review. Again, I apologize for not having that ready for last week for review. That brings us to new business. First item of new business is the access mobility quote. I apologize, Suzanne and Emily, I didn't have a chance to scan this one, so I can't screen share it. But essentially, this is the preventative maintenance for the elevator at Town Hall. It's something that we basically do annually, and we need to do to make sure the elevator works to be ADA compliant. It's a yearly fee of $375. Essentially, it includes the testing, the inspection, the safety functions, cleaning, lubricating all parts, adjusting equipment, replacing the fluids, inspecting the motors, the electrical, the doors, the gates, etc., etc., etc. Again, it's $375 with a 5% discount on all parts. Warranty is 12 months. Again, it's an annual thing that we look to do. So I don't know if either of you want to take a look at it, but
Yeah.
so it's $375 is the quote for access mobility. So
I'll make a motion to accept the quote from Access Mobility for $375.
Yep.
To take care of the elevator at the town hall.
great,
I'll second
great. So we have a motion to accept the quote by Mark, seconded by Leanne. Is there any discussion? Not hearing any discussion, we will vote. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Great. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Motion carries. Next up, overweight truck permits.
Charlie?
Oh, yes.
I'm gonna leave at this point and trust you guys with the overweight truck permits, because I just gotta get these girls fed.
Okay. No worries. Thanks for hanging in there.
Yeah, everybody have a great night.
Yeah,
You
Okay.
too.
Thanks, Suzanne.
Thanks.
All right. So overweight truck permits, we have a stack of them here. We have N.A. Minash, Structural Hardwood Corporation, Cardinal Logistics, Ernest P. Crush, Chris Bullock, Pike Industries, Harrison Concrete Construction, and Harrison Ready Mix Corp. So we'll give Mark a second to kind of go through these to see if he has any questions on them or any concerns with the weights listed, and then we can approve them as a slate if there's no issues.
Is Chris Bullock for sticks and stuff?
Chris Bullock.
Kelly, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, Chris Bullock.
Yeah, I think so.
Bullock for sticks and stuff?
It's 44 Lower Newton Street.
These sticks and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it looks like. It's a bunch of, yeah. Yeah, it's all their pickups and, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Yeah, they all look good.
Okay, so Mark has looked through them and has no issues with the weights listed or anything, so if we wanna take them as a slate, the
Yeah.
motion would be to approve the slate as presented. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion to approve the overweight truck permits for, you want me to go down through them?
No, it's okay.
Okay, for the slate. Ones we have on
Slate
the
is
agenda.
presented, yep.
Yeah.
Great, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Great, seconded by Leanne. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we will vote. All those in favor of approving the slate as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. So we have some licenses to approve. So the first up is the Snowshoe Pub. This is the first class renewal, the third class renewal, and the outside consumption permit, and a caterer's license.
I'll make a motion to approve the Snowshoe Pub liquor license.
Okay,
Liquor in the back, yep.
we have a motion by Mark. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving the Snowshoe Pub's first class, third class, outdoor consumption, and catering? Hearing no discussion, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Motion carries. Next up, we've got Sylvester's Market. This is a second class license.
I'll make a motion to approve the Sylvester's Market liquor and tobacco license.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Great. Is there any discussion on the motion to approve the second class license for Sylvester's Market? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. Last one up is the Lantern Holding LLC. This is the Black Lantern. This is for a first class, third class, and outdoor consumption permit. Is there a motion to approve for the Black Lantern?
I'll make a motion to approve the liquor and tobacco license for the Black Lantern.
Great, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Leanne. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of approval, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Great. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Great. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Only note for board members is that the mailboxes are back up in the town office.
Oh,
So there's a mailbox thing by the copy. It's got each one of our names on it. So when you come into the office periodically, you just check the box to see if there's anything in there with your name on it. If there's no other business to be conducted tonight, then a motion to adjourn is in order.
I'll make that motion.
Great.
I'll second that one.
And we have a second from Mark. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, and the meeting is adjourned.